आप देख रहे हैं मार्केट से 10 और अच्छी मजबूती के साथ काम का जो है 6500 के जोन को बरकरार रखा है हमने निफ्टी पे 65-35 का मौजूदा लेवल देखने को मिल रहा है। सेंसेक्स पर भी अच्छी बढ़त देखने को मिल रही है। 51 अंकों की पोजीशन जो है बैंक एक्स ऑयल एंड गैस कैपिटल गुड्स ऑटो इंडेक्स में ज्यादा बन रही है। रघु कुमार जी हमारे साथ जुड़ चुके हैं, को फाउंडर हैं RKSV के। रघु जी नमस्कार, स्वागत है आपका जी बिजनेस में। वेलकम टू जी बिजनेस। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, द वे द इंडियन मार्केट्स हैव परफॉर्म्ड एंड दे हैव बीटन the Asian indices, other Asian indices. How do you see the markets going forward till elections?
Thank you for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure to be here. So, the Indian markets, if you look at the past week, both the Sensex and the Nifty hit all-time highs. So obviously, it's a very good time to invest in the Indian markets. And I see for the next 2 months, until the election results are announced, a lot can happen. We have, 2 full months. But that being said, because of all the optimism that's happening with the domestic investors and foreign institutional investors investing heavily into the Indian markets, we can definitely expect the Indian markets to trend upward for the next couple months. The only sign of concern that I would have is with the rupee. The rupee right now is very stable and it is between the range of 60 to 62. But if it does happen to appreciate and go to 59 or 58, then that could hurt export-driven sectors. So for example, IT, pharma, and other export-driven sectors that are heavily dependent on the rupee. And also the current account deficit. The current account deficit is heavily dependent upon the rupee as well. So if you want to keep the current account deficit under control, then it's going to be very important for the rupee to be stable.
Are you still betting on cyclicals the way the Indian markets have performed the past few months? Stocks like capital goods, metals, they are outperforming the markets. And what target specifically have you regarding the other stocks like banking, capital goods and metals?
Well, with the capital goods sector, you have a mixed bag of stocks. So you have certain fundamentally sound stocks with sound balance sheets. For example, you have Larsen Toubro, Voltas with very fundamentally sound balance sheets. So over these next 2 months, as the elections, approach, it's a good idea to invest in these types of stocks. That being said, it's a mixed bag. You have stocks like BHAIL. BHAIL, for example, in August of 2013 hit an all-time low, and since then has appreciated almost 90%, while the Sensex has only appreciated 20%. So you have this big difference between the two. The Sensex and the stock. And when you look at the fundamentals behind why BHAIL, actually appreciated 90%, there's no actual fundamental reasons behind it. So you have to be very careful in which stocks you pick. But overall, I would say capital goods is a good sector to invest in for the next 2 months. The banking sector is while the rupee is has been very stable, and you have controlled current account deficit. The inflation numbers yesterday came out very good at 8.1%, and of course tomorrow's inflation figure is going to be released. You would expect the banking sector to do well, and yet the banking sector really is linked to the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, and the actions it takes. So the RBI for the past few months has taken many actions to really liberalize the banking sector. And unless the RBI does that over these next couple months, I don't see the banking sector doing quite as well as some of the other more fundamentally sound sectors.
Ji. Raghu, the next and the last question will be what to do in IT counters, because the way the Infosys has fallen today because of management guidance, what to do in IT counters, especially Infosys?
Well, Infosys was just, is almost like an outlier because if you look at the IT stocks in general, since, mid-2013 through now, the IT stocks and any export-driven sectors in general that are tied to the rupee have done very well. So as long as the rupee stays at 60 or 60 to 62, which I believe the RBI will try to do, then IT stocks in general should do well, for the next couple months. So Infosys, like I said, is probably just an outlier, and I wouldn't spend too much time focusing on it and clubbing it with all other IT stocks. Instead, the IT sector should do well, over the next couple months.
जी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए और बाजार पर चर्चा करने के लिए, सेक्टर स्पेसिफिक काउंटर स्पेसिफिक चर्चा करने के लिए। फिलहाल निफ्टी 26 अंक बढ़ चुका है, 6542 का लेवल, और सेंसेक्स पे 75 अंकों की बढ़त के साथ कामकाज हो रहा है। शो में इतना ही। अब सीधे चलते हैं मृत्युंजय के पास और देखते हैं कमोडिटी मार्केट अपडेट।